Yo, yo, yo. What's going on, everybody? What's up? Disabler, Tron, Chronicles of Alicia Balam, Cerberus, welcome back. Brandon Gaylord, what's up? Shannon, Charlie's Flicks Fix, what's up, dude? Good to see you again. You're coming back, right? I feel like I remember your name and stumbling over it. What's up, Q Williams? Marie? Greetings from Bolivia. Yo, what's up, everybody? Oh, very melancholy. Sorry to hear that. You're that dude, John. Thank you. I hope that's a good thing. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy. Am I that guy? Am I that dude? Closing out of some of the stuff. I still have some of our previous windows open. This is basically relegated to just this computer's basically just for streaming nowadays. I haven't been gaming on it at all in between streams. I'm trying to rest my poor little hands. And it's me, which means I can't play as many video games. What's up? Lizeth, Cosmic Carnage. What's up, Max? Jeremy? Crimson Void, welcome back. John, you should do Messed Up Origins of Baron Samedi, unless he's already done so. I basically have, although I call him Baron Samedi. People are going to complain about the pronunciation, but yeah. If you look up the Messed Up Origins of Dr. Facilier from Princess and the Frog, I dive deep into Baron Samedi and a little bit of Papa Legba as well. Hey, John, do you think you could deep dive into the Bible? You know anything about Sodom and Gomorrah or Job or anything about that subject? Thank you for asking. I am not opposed to it at all. I talked about this a little bit on the last stream. I don't really know. I don't know Christian mythology very deeply. I know just the basics. I know Moses. I know he told the Pharaoh to let my people go. Split the Red Sea, the burning bush, 10 Commandments, Um, but I feel like there's other creators who are just more knowledgeable in Christian mythology that are better candidates to talk about that sort of thing. But maybe not. I mean, no, not not maybe not. That's definitely true. But just because they're more qualified doesn't mean I can't also partake in the conversation. Because I would like to learn more. Like the mythology aspect of it is kind of interesting. Want to learn more about angels and demons. I remember seeing a theory about the birth of Jesus Christ and the three wise men explained through an astrological perspective, solstice, constellations, etc. Yeah, I I don't know if there's like any truth to that, but I do remember like a clip of I think it was Neil deGrasse Tyson on Joe Rogan um talking about it, and he was saying how, winter solstice, return of the sun, birth of Jesus, the Son of God. There's some overlap there, but I don't know. Like, I don't know enough about linguistics and how languages evolve to be like, see if that's related. Astronomical, not astrological, you're saying. Gotcha. Maybe you could bring on those experts in Christian myth to the show. That could be cool. Who's my favorite Greek god? Um, I'm a fan of underdogs, so like Hades and Hephaestus are usually my two go-tos. I am into death as a concept and as a motivational tool. So, and I just think that um, Hades just has such an interesting role in Greek mythology. And then Hephaestus, I talked about again in the last stream, but he's a friggin' underdog, dude. Dropped off Olympus. No matter what timeline you follow, that dude was dropped off of Olympus, fell 7 days, hit Earth, and got back up and was like, "Well, my legs are broken, but I'm gonna make some cool shit at least and do something with my life." Then he earned his way back. Doesn't get cooler than that. Hey John, do you still have plans for the messed up origins of Dracula or the messed up origins of the Egyptian vampire goddess? Uh, I don't have like immediate plans for Dracula, where I would compare like I'd probably have to get into I'd be talking about the Dracula book, right? And compare that to vampire folklore now and modern depictions of Dracula and adaptations of the Dracula book. Um, that's probably like down the line, maybe next year. But this year, I do have some cool things planned for Halloween. One of them was, let me see, because I keep, it's hard to choose honestly, and I kind of have to commit soon because I want to upload every week in October. It's my favorite season of the year, and it's spoopy and it's fun, and I fucking love it. So I got to pick the topics and commit to them so I can get them researched. But I'm not going to spoil everything I got planned, but I was thinking a video, blended my words here, a video on Carmilla, the vampire would be cool, uh, as well as wow, I do want to tell you guys about all of these. Here are some candidates because I have like a bunch scattered all over my calendar here. The Candyman would be sweet. I've been wanting to do the Candyman since like that remake of the movie came out, or I guess not the remake, but the sequel, spiritual sequel, literal sequel, same actor. So, but I haven't seen the original. Carmilla the Vampire would be cool, especially after watching the Castlevania anime. Uh, that I the Carmilla character is way more interesting to me now, and I'd love to read her original story. And then I do think Gods of Death might be a fun topic to explore. We also have Sekhmet, like we talked about, the Egyptian vampire goddess, where we are admittedly playing it a little loose with the term vampire because she is not a vampire and that she's an undead human come back to life and then drinks blood to survive. Or I guess do all are all vampires dead? Are all vampires dead people? Does a person have to die to become a vampire, or is it just the bite that does it? And does the bite kill them? I don't know. I have to ask Jack. I haven't done Dracula Origins. I've done Vampire Origins, but not Dracula specifically. The bite turns them immortal in most lore. Right, exactly. Just so you guys know, too, there is a new episode on the goat Zodiac coming out tomorrow morning, actually. It's completely done, but we did not get sponsor approval in time. Don't know why. Somebody dropped the ball, but no big deal. But I'll see you guys tomorrow as well with a brand new episode. What's up, Abby Tate? Abby Tail? Abby Tail. First time in the chat over on Twitch. And then we got COD Maniac 321 says, Ayo. Ayo, right back at you. Could you revisit Peter Pan? I think that'd be cool. Ant Vocabulary says, wait, I've never been here. Oh my god. Welcome, Ant Vocabulary. Um, so yeah, I'm down. I'm totally down to revisit some of the classic stories that I have been, um, or that I covered a long, long time ago. Because like, you know, doing revisiting the messed up origins of Snow White was super fun. I've actually got another revisit planned for next month for May. But like, initially I never wanted to go back to those stories. Uh, like, I shouldn't say never wanted to go back, but I was hesitant to go back to those stories because I didn't just want to retread the same material and have people, say that like I've run out of ideas, run out of stories, etc. Um, but when it came to Snow White and some of the other stories I told around that time, like, dude, those I realized the other day, those first episodes were over 7 years ago. It's like it's a whole new generation of people on YouTube now, and I can do those videos way better. And there are plenty of people who ask me for to do messed up origins of stories that I covered way in the beginning because I don't know if they just haven't searched it or what, but uh, they don't know I did it, and which has got to be confusing for them, right? If they see like, I've done the messed up origins of some of these mainstream stories and not the others. Um, Plus, there's some stories from back then that basically I could just cover all of them better than I did at the end of the day. So if Taylor Swift can do it, I can do it too. Are you going to make videos on the new Hades 2 characters? Potentially. I have to complete the game first. I'm on the surface now, but I'm avoiding any button mashy games at the moment. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to revisit Peter Pan. Lizeth asks, how's the baby? Baby is doing really good. She is a butterball. She's the happiest butterball I've ever seen in my life, and the cutest at that. I'm a little bit biased, but I don't think it's my bias. She's happy and healthy, and it's basically like all I can ask for, right? I I myself am in terrible physical health. But the fact that she is makes it all okay. We can look up some folklore and myth stuff here soon. If you guys got any recommendations for what you want me to look into right now, I'd be happy to. Do more information on Journey to the West. I will. Absolutely will. That is also planned for this year. I need to commit to whether I'm going to finish Black Myth Wukong or not. I think I just need to look up a tutorial and uh, watch somebody play the rest of the game. The thing is I want to source all the footage myself. I don't want to use anybody else's gameplay. Okay, that gets into weird, murky waters. So I might have to beat it. But I'm just kind of over it. I'm over the Black Myth Wukong game. I love all those messed up Origins videos from the beginning. Still make sure to see them to keep them fresh in my mind. Oh, that's awesome. I need to watch them more too. I think have uh, they have some good value. Thank you so much for stopping by in the Twitch, everybody. I just got all the achievements on Black Myth Wukong. That is insane, dude. How old's baby girl? She is just about 6 months. Yeah. 6 more days. We're going to have a 6 month old, which is crazy to me. Like, how's that possible? She's still very small, though. How's your mental and physical health doing? Peaks and valleys, my friends. Peaks and valleys. Let's go fighting cowboy on YouTube. Look up fighting cowboy on YouTube. He does 100% playthrough on Let's Plays. This videos could get you through Black Myth Wukong. All right, I'll make a note of that. So you haven't slept in half a year, basically. It is crazy. I'm actually a little sick right now. I'm getting over the sickness that I got this week. Frankie got sick, passed it on to me, and I I think that, like, my immune system is normally pretty good, but there was on one night the other night where actually 2 nights in a row. One, she kept me up. She kept both of us up. She was very fussy because she was sick. And then the night after that, she was like slept like a rock, but I was just up the whole night, could not sleep. And when I woke up the next day, I felt like, which was yesterday, I felt like dog shit. So, um, I I took a good chunk of yesterday off and a good portion of today off as well. For her birthday, you should do myths about babies. That's not a bad idea. The most messed up myths about babies. The most messed up babies in myth. The babyest messed up myth of all time origins. How's the wife doing? Oh, she's also doing great. Thank you for asking. Keeping me sane. I don't know how she puts up with me. What's your gonna be your next origin video? Um, I think you're gonna love it. I don't want to spoil it, but it is Japanese mythology related and pop culture related. So there's not a ton of overlap there, I don't think. Well, that's a stupid thing to say. I just don't do a lot of anime. That's why I think that. But then after that, I've got another messed up Origins plan that's just as epic. That's going to be a revisit. Um, Next week, I think this weekend I'm going to force myself to review to watch Snow White, the movie. Lou and I might try to sneak away to the movie theater for like 2 hours. Which it sucks to have to leave the child I love to go watch Rachel Zegler on a giant projector screen, but we do what we have to do for our jobs. And I don't think, I think it's going to be a pretty simple, easy, casual review. Don't want to read into it too much. Um, I just think I think it would be fun. And I need something kind of easy because I have a huge messed up sequel episode coming out. I basically got three bangers in a row coming out. Uh, Super excited for what we got in store. Have you ever done a Mother Goose episode? I actually have, yeah. It was the very, very start of Nursery Rhymes Explained, so I will say, like, maybe my research now could be better, but I did cover her at one point. Please do Epic the Musical and Odyssey. I will. Let me just. Let me add this goddamn Epic musical to my list of mythology videos. Oh, I already got it. All right. It's on there. Epic is on my list. I have. Everybody is just requesting that like crazy. Messed up Origins of Demons is fairly messed up. Homer's The Odyssey. That would be an epic as well. I could probably do that at some point. Literally an epic. Thing is, I feel like that episode would have to be like an hour long, potentially. But that's all right. The other thing is like, man, it is not an easy read. The Odyssey. The Okay, so here I can. Let's do a little digging, shall we? So yeah, if my voice sounds a little off today, it's because of the old germs. Also, I want to shout out Mama G Bear for the donation. Thank you. Thanks for making me laugh during your videos. Thank you for the support. All right, guys, we're setting a super chat goal. And if we get 10 super chats in the next 30 minutes that are $5 or more. Wrong timing, Charlie. I wish this counted. For the vibes. Thank you, though, man. Appreciate it. Because my YouTube manager, I'm in the YouTube manager program, which is not as cool as it sounds. They keep pushing the super chat goal thing. Like, I see you're doing live streaming. You should super chat. You should super chat. So, gonna do a goal: 10 super chats in a half hour, and I'll do a little dance. That's the reward. And I would like Charlie's to count because that was super super nice. Thanks, Charlie. Um, hey, there we go, Andrean. Thank you. Super generous. Thank you for the donation. Let me see here. So, I'm looking for a good translation of the Odyssey. View sample. All right, what do we got here? Yeah. Comparing translations. Lou, thank you to my wife for the donation. She is great. And thank you from Frankie as well. Thank you to Frankie. I don't know if that one should count, but hey, the Rusty Blades. Where is going on here? There we go. Like, this is Mama G Bear for the Butterball Cutie. Happy 6 months. Thank you. Dance like David Byrne. I wish I knew who David Byrne was so I could oblige you. The man mused, tell me about that resourceful man who wandered far and wide when he'd sacked Troy's sacred citadel. Many men's townships he saw and learned their ways of thinking. Many the griefs he suffered at heart on the open sea, battling for his own life and his comrades' homecoming. Yet no way could he save his comrades, much though he longed to. It was through their own blind recklessness that they perished, the fools, for they slaughtered the cattle of Helios, the sun god, and ate them. For that he took from them their day of returning. Tell us this tale, goddess, child of Zeus. Start anywhere in it. She's like, all right, all right, all right. You kind of told me the whole story, though. Do videos on the Ars Goshgisha, the lesser and greater. I don't know what you're talking about. I got to take some time to actually read the Odyssey because I never have before. We did in high school. I will admit that I didn't read it in my spare time. I did take a class on it. There's a class on, I think it's called the Great Courses. Is it the Great Courses Plus? No, it's Course Era, I think. Yeah, I think this is the one. And I just took a one random Greek mythology class on here to see what it was like. And I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty boring, but I learned some interesting stuff. And it went through the Odyssey. That was like a huge bulk of the class. But I gotta say, after taking it, I understood why people why my videos appealed to people. Because I'm like, man, this stuff is not boring. But wow, if you don't know how to, have stage presence, you're gonna make it boring as shit. Unfortunately, like that does help with being a teacher is having some stage presence. Latmore, we're looking for a good translation of the Odyssey. Lattimore is usually regarded as the most faithful to the original Greek. While there have been some good translations over the decades, you can't beat the modern ones. Fagles was considered the best for quite a while my current favorites are Mitchell, Lombardo, Green, and Wilson. How do you have multiple favorites? These people reading the Odyssey over and over and over again, like multiple different translations, like very interesting. I mean, I'm glad people care so much about this stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's just like as much as I do, I will probably read the Odyssey once, put it down for 10 years and then read it again, you know? Yeah, the animations too, says Charlie. A lot of people come to YouTube because they're visual learners, which is huge. You cannot undervalue the visuals. Completely agree. And that's another thing. When I watch my old videos, uh, I'm like, how? did people watch this shit? Honestly, like, why does my Sleeping Beauty have about 1 million views? Because it's a popular subject. I get that. And I think I did a decent job telling the story, but like, it's funny. I'm like, you know, I talk about showing the or I talk about how she pricks her finger on the spindle. She discovers the old lady and pricks her finger on the spindle. And I show that picture for like maybe 2 seconds. And it's like, man, I had been making YouTube videos for years at that point. Like, how was I not better? You know? I'm just like, did I not give this one final proof watch? Did I forget to post this in the corner? Like, silly John. Would you do Jason and the Argonauts? I absolutely would. I've talked about Jason and the Argonauts a little bit here and there, but I'll add that as well to the list. I'm pretty sure it already is. I think I mentioned last time I'm in the process of moving lists, and it's not something I'm like prioritizing, so it's going to take a while. But there's a lot of different things that we could talk about with Jason and the Argonauts. For example, who were the Argonauts? I don't want to read one of these articles. Okay, that's way too big. That's what she said. All right, let's talk a little bit about Jason and the Argonauts. An Argonauts named Heracles. I don't know if this was written by someone who speaks English. Heroes. Really, Jason isn't a hero? I find that surprising. Where is the search bar? Because like not even who the Argonauts are is not consistent between writers. You would think Apollonius Rhodius would be the go-to though, right? Because he wrote the Argonautica. Never be ashamed of your past videos. They brought most of us to the channel. You have grown so much, but the OG videos are also gold. Oh, thank you. I try. I am proud of them overall, don't get me wrong, but it is funny to go back and be like, especially now, because like I held off on hiring an editor for so long, thinking that people would be really sensitive to like a style change in the editing or um, not even so. I mean, that's a good chunk of it, but another chunk of it is like me wanting things how I like them and how I edit them and my vision. Uh, so like it's funny that I was so strict about it for so long, and then just to go back and watch those and be like, man, I really accepted some pretty low standards in the beginning there. Assembly of the Argonauts. Are these all the Argonauts? No, these are just authors. So, what do we got? This is going to be way too much to sit through. I was kind of looking for a more of a shorthand list here. Thus he spake. Okay. Uh, I think that so. If I remember right, their names were Dasher, Dancer, Prancer, Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen, and then Hercules. I recently watched an overly sarcastic productions video about Medea, Jason's wife, who he royally screwed over in the end. So yeah, that dude is a bit of a jerk. Yeah. Yeah, I have to reread it to be honest with you. I don't know if I know the complete story of Jason from beginning to end, but man, do I love this site. I know I visit it basically every other stream, but it's just so cool. Just such a great way to learn about the mythology. Theoi.com, Theoi.com. You got like all the underworld gods here. Cerberus, Charon, Cronus, Erinyes, Hades, the Moirai, or the Miri. I don't know how you want to pronounce it. Nyx, Persephone, Thanatos, Hypnos, Hermes, Hecate. Let's look up Thanatos just because. Oh, and then there's the complete list. Right. So these are the main guys, the big baddies. And then you got the complete list, which is everybody in Hades' retinue who helped him. And as you can see, there's a lot. And granted, a lot of these people only did this. Like they aren't really known for that much else, but so like they're barely a character, which is why they don't get brought up that much. But then you got like really specific references like this. Menoetes, an underworld demon who herded the black-skinned cattle of Hades. He was wrestled by Heracles, who cracked his ribs. See? Like, learn something new every day. So are the black cattle the cattle that were sacrificed to Hades? Because that's pretty cool. If this guy's in charge of all of the sacrificial bulls. Addressing the giant Geryon, urging him to think of his parents and avoid a battle with Heracles. Your mother, Callirrhoe, and Chrysaor, dear to Ares. Answering him, Geryon, the son of immortal Chrysaor, said, "Do not talk with of chilling death to try to frighten my manly heart." So, like, this is right when Heracles is going to fight Geryon, and then obviously Heracles kills him. The dog Orthrus smelled him there and went after him, but he struck it with his club, and then the cowherd Eurytion came to help the dog. He slew him as well. Menoetes, who was there tending the cattle of Hades, reported these events to Geryon. So he was there tending the cattle of Hades. So did he bring the cattle up to Earth, I wonder? Up on Mount Abbas? Heracles journeys to the underworld in his quest for the hound Cerberus, and Heracles rolled away the stone of Ascalaphus. Then, desiring to supply the souls with blood, he slaughtered one of Hades' cattle. Their keeper, Menoetes, son of Chthonimus, and as you can see here, we already have a different parent. Oh wait, no, we don't. We don't. Mabi. We were talking about Geryon's parents first. Challenged Heracles to a wrestling match. Heracles hugged his torso and broke his ribs, but set him down at the request of Persephone. That's very nice. So, I love that. Like, Heracles is beating up their helper, and Persephone's like, Heracles, we got it. Like, we all know you can kick his ass. Just please don't crush him. Who's your favorite Titan? I mean, Prometheus. We owe a lot to Prometheus, don't we? Who are the Titans here? Asteria. We also owe her a lot, if I'm thinking of the right lady. She's the one, the grain goddess? No, I am super wrong about that. Goddess of falling stars and perhaps of nighttime divinations. That's pretty cool. Did not know that was a thing. I'm thinking of Aristea, I believe. think that's her name. Now I gotta Google it to validate myself. Aristea Titanus. It's probably not how you pronounce or spell her name. It's the goddess that inspired Libra. I can't remember her freaking name. Or not Libra either. Jesus, I'm all over the place today. Uh, Whatever. Grain goddess. I'm sick, okay? That's my excuse. With all the knowledge you know about all this mythology stuff and messed up origins, do you ever watch movies that mention the mythology or characters and go, wait, that's wrong? Yeah, all the time. All the time. Like sometimes I'm like a lot of you guys, I get a little ahead of myself. I'm like, "Oh wait, I think they got this inaccurate." And then you see they're kind of going for something else. Like for example, I did think and I maintain that that the Rock Hercules movie was ass. It was awful. But uh I was actually impressed with their somewhat creative take of like saying that like they played into the fact that his accomplishments were a bit exaggerated and he actually had help for a lot of them from his crew. And I think like the credit sequence of that movie, if I remember right, um YouTube, it shows him accomplishing those labors with the help of other people. I was muted that entire time. That's hilarious. Oh God. All right. Should we rewatch it and recap? My bad, guys. I was eating granola. I didn't want to blast your eardrums with my granola. God damn it. Now I know. Now I know not to eat granola. But the bar's not finished. What do I do? All right, we're going back. We're going back. Round two with sound. It gets better every time. Ironically, like we're still not watching this with sound. But point being, all right, back to the Hydra. We got Hercules, and I'm saying this is the best part of the movie, okay? It happens, of course, when the movie is over. Which is entirely appropriate. Like movie's ass. Once the credits roll, though, not only does it mean that your misery is about at an end, the most valuable part happens where we see him getting help with killing the Hydra, which he actually did. I already explained this, but fuck it. With his nephew, I believe his nephew's name was Iolaus. As Hercules would cut off the Hydra heads, Iolaus would singe them, and so they couldn't grow back. We got him versing the Erymanthian boar, if I'm pronouncing that right. And the whole point of this is that, you know, Hercules, all of these amazing accomplishments that he did not do them alone. Uh, it makes it a little more believable, I guess, shows that he was a man. Last but not least, the Nemean lion, although this was the uh, first labor. Immortals was also terrible. Yeah, I completely agree. Uh, would you ever do a roast or breakdown of Pop Goes the Weasel? Probably not. I don't want to. It would be a lot, and it wouldn't be worth it. That'd be more spotlight than that book deserves. I've already given it too much spotlight. Gods of Egypt was also kind of crappy. See, it's funny you say that. Like, different strokes for different folks. I'm sure some people did like the movie. Uh, I haven't seen it all the way through still. I will eventually. Um, I've followed, like, I watched a lot of the big scenes on YouTube in chronological order, and I thought, wow, not for me. But when I mentioned the movie on TikTok, or in in a TikTok on a reel, I said like, yeah, the Gods of Egypt movie was pretty bad, but this take of Anubis was at least accurate. And I got so many comments from people who were saying like, Gods of Egypt is amazing. What an L take. A terrible take, John. I'm like, do we need to sit down and watch this movie together? And so you can explain to me why you think it was okay? Like not even like they're not even saying like, "Oh, it wasn't that bad." They're saying it's a great movie. Like no. 300 was pretty good. 300 is one of my favorite movies that takes place in this time. I don't know how historically accurate it is. I know that Zack Schneider is a big Greek mythology and Greek history nerd, but I don't doubt that his creative vision would absolutely obfuscate that and he would just take it in whatever direction he wants to go in. Um, I think that would be a fun subject to cover at some point too. John, maybe do a video, messed up origins for the Looking Glass Wars uh, book trilogy. It's basically the truth behind Alice in Wonderland. Okay. Twilight of the Gods was crap. I thought Twilight of the Gods was okay. Again, different strokes for different folks, but I wasn't like amazed by it. I enjoyed it as a mythology fan who wants more mythology content to enjoy. You know, I went into chaos with the same mentality. I couldn't get into chaos. I finished it. I did not enjoy it, but uh, I think I've mentioned this in multiple streams now. I do think it deserved a second season. It was setting up some pretty interesting plot lines that it didn't have a chance to explore, but it took way too long to get to the point. And I feel like they blew their entire budget on licensing the soundtrack and Jeff Goldblum because the rest of the cast was fucking garbage. And Jeff Goldblum was terrible as Zeus. But Rochelle Banks, what up? I just started back hanging out with Cousin John and all you guys. I haven't been around since we were being called Solo Cups. You still are called Solo Cups occasionally, but welcome back, Rochelle. Appreciate it. Messed up origins of the Wizard of Oz. Already did it, my friend. But I am going to do the messed up origins of Wicked this year, too. I can't wait for God of War to do Egypt. We'll see if they do. We're fighting now, John. It's all good. Like I said, if you guys like chaos, more power to you. But it's just like not a good Zeus, not a good Dionysus. I didn't really like Riddy as well. There wasn't like, I don't feel like there was enough. I thought the idea that that Eurydice wasn't into Orpheus and like didn't really want to be rescued by him was kind of interesting. But they, she, like, I don't think there was a really, they didn't give us a reason to, like, I didn't really understand her perspective, I guess. Like, she felt like she was a little, like, played the second fiddle to him, like, he's obsessed with his music and that's his main focus in his career or something. And he just sees her as some sort of, like, romantic object of inspiration. I have no fucking idea what the problem was. If somebody could explain it to me. But it seemed like he was willing to do whatever it took to get her back. And then by the time he spoiler alert, it's Orpheus and Eurydice, though. By the time he gets to her, she's like, mm. It's like, come on, man, not even gonna give him a chance. Little much. Dionysus was awful. Worst iteration of Dionysus I've ever seen in my life, by far. Oh, and then the twist, quote unquote, with the Minotaur and the whole first breath thing. That twist. Watch the show. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just watch the show. When you hear her prophecy, you're gonna know immediately, like, up, boom. This is what it actually means. Meanwhile, these characters have had this prophecy floating around in their head for like 30 years, and they didn't possibly be like, oh, duh. Like, it's actually painful. Um, so like it's supposed to be this big moment where they figure out that the prophecy means something different, and it's like I was just like, really, guys? I'm sitting here on 2 hours of sleep, like holding. I was because I watched all of these shows um, when Frankie was first born because she'd get up super early, and then I would just sit with her and feed her. Um, but like, yeah, I'm sitting here on 2 hours of sleep with my newborn, and I figured this prophecy out before you guys did, and this is what you have based your life around. Yes, I would do Jason and the Argonaut someday to answer your question, Anvil. Prometheus, I don't know what you mean by Prometheus was good though. Show? My mom and brother get into what I call butts and guts genre. I can't even watch stuff that may have an interesting story because of all the gratuitous extraness. You mean like the okay, I gotcha. Butts and guts. That's a clever moniker for that genre of like gratuitous violence and nudity. And I did feel like uh, a lot of the romantic elements of this were gratuitous. What god would you have Jeff Goldblum play? That's a good question. Probably Momos. Honestly, the god of sarcasm. I think that would be great. Maybe he could play Dionysus too if he like chilled out a little bit. Dionysus is supposed to be chill, man. The best depiction of Dionysus, without a doubt, is in Hades. Chronicles of Alicia, thank you for the donation. Have you done a video on Romulus and Remus? No, I have not yet. I'm taking a bite. Thanks, Alicia. My wife got a coffee this morning, so I'll tell her that it was on you. There's one Greek myth I heard that I thought was absolutely hilarious where Ares was kidnapped by giants and stuffed into a jar, and the other gods didn't notice for about a year. Yeah, I love that myth. That one's hilarious. Like Ares just kind of blows, dude. He's not that. He's not an impressive god at all. And I was thinking about this like the other day because I kind of want to do a video on it. Like I've done a video on Ares, but I would like to just kind of narrow in and focus on that aspect of how much he gets punked on. It's kind of pathetic. Carl, I don't know why you're so aggressive, but you're being kind of annoying. So relax a little bit, bud. Chronicles of Alicia, Gillian. I'd say we should talk about animal species that came back from extinction. That's a good thought. Are we going to talk about Hades and Persephone's backstory anytime soon? I think that would be pretty. Wow. Yeah, I think that like that's the kind of the point with Ares is like Ares is the um the unbound rage side of war. He's the like and I think it just goes to show you that like what the Greco-Roman perspective on war really was. There were elements of it that were respectable, and those were what Athena oversaw. And while Ares was a god and they respected him too, he like it's only natural. Like a god of war has to get into when you think about it, he kind of has to get into some scuffs like this. The details are for creative interpretation, but when you have to take his archetype in in certain situations, it kind of has to behave a certain way. The gods slew Halir Hothios to avenge the grape of his daughter Alcippe. He was tried at the court of the Areopagos in Athens, but acquitted of murder. Was but acquitted of murder. So was Ares tried? That's very interesting. Ares is the golden child, or Athena is the golden child, while Ares is the scapegoat. Exactly. Ares' wrath. Ares' wrath, Cadmus. Agralos and Ares had a daughter, Alcape, as Halirhotheos, son of Poseidon, and a nymph named Yurtye. Ares caught him and slew him. Poseidon had Ares tried. Hmm. Oh, because it was Poseidon's son, Ares was tried. That's interesting. Hmm. I'll have to take a note of that. Definitely take a note of that. Athena might be the most overrated member of the Olympians that aren't the big three. That I could also agree with. Like, I like Athena, but she has just as many flaws as uh, she has just as many flaws as the rest of the gods. And it does seem like some people don't like to acknowledge that. Let me. There we go. Charlie Flicks Fix. For the goals. I think the goal is over because it didn't happen in a half hour. But since then, we've had two donations. I'm keeping track. We got 6 out of 10. I am going to be getting off soon, though. So, appreciate you guys stopping by. This was fun. We know Billy Shake. I don't know what that is. Yeah, it was cool hanging out. I'm glad that you guys popped by. I wanted to see you today, and I was a little disappointed to find that I couldn't get this video posted on time. Um, I really, really cannot stand posting videos late, but it has to happen sometimes, unfortunately. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for the chilling. Ooh, can I ask more about Afterlife travel posters? More when? Yes, actually, we do have some in the works. Well, not in the works. We have the details figured out, but we do have to send them to the artist and kind of plan out that launch strategy. So we are planning on doing some, launching them at the very beginning of summer, though. So probably June. I'll keep you guys posted on that, though. Um, in the meantime, I want to say again, thank you all for stopping by. If you haven't yet, make sure you drop a like, and I will be seeing you tomorrow with the messed up mythology of the goat zodiac from Chinese myth. And then next week is going to be a review. And then 3 weeks, the 3 weeks following, we got a messed up sequel, a messed up origin, and a messed up origin. So we're going to be set. Really, really looking forward to all that. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow too. But until then, my name is John Solo, and remember, John shot first. And now I'll do a little dance. Whoo. There we go. If you had gotten to 10, I would have added a little more spice, but I think that works.